probably 4 or 5 years ago, I viewed the Pain Cave as like this place that you should try to put off as long as possible in a race. Like, make your Pain Cave be as far away from you as you can, and if you arrive to it, then you just sit in it and you try and survive.
How she handles those moments of extreme pain and fatigue during those ultra-long races. How does she conquer the dreaded Pain Cave?
That's what I'm really curious about, too. How does she push through when most people would just give up?
Well, that's where things get really fascinating. Dauwalter's relationship with the Pain Cave is unlike anything I've ever seen.
Yeah, that mysterious place that all endurance athletes talk about.
Right, and for most people, it's this thing to be avoided at all costs. You know, that point in a race or any really tough endeavor where your body's just screaming for you to stop.
Where every step, every movement feels like an impossible effort.
Exactly, and your mind starts playing tricks on you too. But Dauwalter, she has this completely different relationship with the Pain Cave.
It's almost like she embraces it, right?
Yeah.
Like she sees it as a challenge, not a threat.
She doesn't try to escape the pain, she leans into it. It definitely goes against conventional wisdom, but for Dauwalter, it's all part of that puzzle we talked about earlier.
Right, the puzzle of pushing her limits and figuring out what she's truly capable of.
The Pain Cave becomes another piece of that puzzle, a way to explore her own potential.
So instead of being this negative, scary experience, it becomes a source of information. It's like she's reframing the whole concept of pain, turning it into a tool rather than an enemy.
And what's even more fascinating is how she actively engages with the pain. She visualizes the Pain Cave as a physical space.
I read about that. It's not a dark, scary cave for her. It's more like a laboratory.
Exactly, a place where she can experiment, explore her own limits.
And she focuses on curiosity rather than suffering, asking herself questions like, why does this hurt?
Yeah.
What's happening in my body? How can I work with this?
And what's even more remarkable is that she maintains a sense of joy throughout the whole experience.
I've seen pictures of her smiling during races, even when she's clearly in a lot of pain.
Yeah, and I, before that incident, I wondered myself, like, will I know when it's a real flag? Will I know to, preserve myself and stop when the warning sign is actually serious? And I wondered if I could do it, because I love, pushing. I love that feeling of like digging really deep and getting to a finish line. And so I wasn't sure that I would have the capacity or maturity or whatever the word is to like actually listen. And when that happened during the race and those flags were going up and I ended up dropping, it actually felt like a big step of trusting myself afterwards, where I was like, okay, you do have the capacity to listen if the flags are important. So I felt like I was learning even better how to read the signals I was getting. The Pain Cave. But in the past couple of years, it's just a mindset, right? It's like all in our heads, this thing. And in the past couple of years, it's been the place I want to get to. So like changing it to a place where I get to celebrate that I made it there, and then that's where the work actually happens. So making the Pain Cave bigger is how I view it, instead of like pushing the Pain Cave away. And I think, our minds are so powerful. So even just like changing the storyline makes it a whole different game.